Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into how understanding your personality type through the Enneagram can shift you from just running on automatic reactions to truly intentional personal growth and authentic leadership. Too often we navigate life wearing these carefully crafted masks, reacting to the world based on deeply ingrained unconscious habits we formed back in childhood. But today, we're going to look at a framework that helps us finally drop those masks. We're going to explore how peeling back the layers of your personality doesn't just improve your own life, but it drastically reduces conflict, builds profound empathy, and ultimately transforms you into a highly effective, genuine leader.
Here is the map for our expedition today. 1. The courage to look inward. 2. Unlocking the 9 types. 3. Head, heart, and gut. 4. Finding your true purpose. And finally, 5. Curing team infections.
Let's start with section 1, the courage to look inward.
It takes absolute, sheer courage to look inward and drop those carefully crafted public personas we all carry around. Think about how much precious time we waste just impersonating someone else, right? Settling for society's expectations instead of discovering who we uniquely are. To ground this abstract idea, let's look at an actual Enneagram profile of a Type 8. A Type 8 is often called the powerful person. This is someone who's a protector, deeply passionate, and fiercely independent. But pay attention to that growing edge section. There is always more beneath the surface. Real self-mastery, it requires literally taking a sledgehammer to our hardened perceptions of ourselves so we can reconstruct an authentic masterpiece.
And this quote right here brilliantly illustrates the real challenge. Self-discovery? It is painful because it demands vulnerability. It demands letting others actually see your heart. You see, getting to know ourselves is kind of like climbing Mount Everest. It's this indescribable success, but man, it requires facing the spontaneous blizzards of our own fears, our doubts, and our unresolved traumas. You can't just put on a gown and glass slippers like Cinderella and expect a magical inward change. No way! You've got to do the heavy lifting of confronting your own shadow.
This inward journey is exactly what psychologist Carl Jung called individuation. It's that necessary, totally unscripted process of accepting your unique, authentic self. It means seeing yourself as the unique person you are actually created to be, completely distinct from your parents, your siblings, or whatever society expects of you. Individuation is your specific tool for shifting from automatic, knee-jerk reactions to intentional personal growth. When you finally achieve this, you stop seeking validation through external achievements, and you start operating from a place of deep, undeniable internal clarity.
Moving on to section 2, unlocking the 9 types.
So if we're going to differentiate ourselves, we're going to need a reliable map. Enter the Enneagram. This is a 2,500-year-old diagnostic tool that reveals our core motivations. It helps us understand not just what we do, but why we do it. Unlike those other personality assessments that just sort of slap a label on your behaviors, the Enneagram actually digs down into your underlying fears and desires. It's a comprehensive system detailing 9 distinct, yet totally interrelated ways of viewing and experiencing the entire world. By identifying with one of these 9 types, we can finally stop impersonating society's expectations and start empowering our true, indelible character. Just look at these core descriptors. Type 1 is the good, perfectionist achiever. Type 2 is the loving caregiver. Type 3 is the effective, driven organizer. Type 4 is the original romantic. Type 5 is the wise thinker. Type 6 is the loyal, vigilant protector. Type 7 is the joyful adventurer. Type 8 is the powerful challenger, and Type 9 is the peaceful mediator. Every single one of us has a primary type, and knowing yours and your colleagues is literally the first step toward profound empathy and building significantly healthier relationships.
All right, section 3, head, heart, and gut.
Let's explore how these 9 types actually process the world around them, because this is where the Enneagram becomes an incredibly practical tool. Using Dr. Griffin's adjusted groupings, just recognizing whether someone operates from the head, the heart, or the gut can instantly reduce conflict and dramatically improve your daily communication. Head types, that's your 1s, 5s, and 6s. They live right there in the mental center. They need detailed itineraries, facts, systematic research. Heart types, the 2s, 4s, and 9s, they view the world entirely through the prism of human connection. They absolutely need to know the emotional story. And gut types, the 3s, 7s, and 8s, they rely heavily on intuition. They just want to know the bottom line practical difference a project is going to make.
Quick reminder, this framework comes from Dr. D. Daryl Griffin. If you haven't already, take his free 5-minute Enneagram test at ddarylgriffin.com to find your type before we continue.
So, what does this all mean for daily interactions?
Well, if you want to connect with a heart type, you've got to give them a human story. A head type? Give them the facts. And a gut type demands to know the bottom line difference a project will make. Think about planning a road trip, right? The gut type throws the car in drive and figures, we'll reach the destination eventually. The head type is going to have multiple panic attacks if they don't have a detailed turn-by-turn itinerary. And the heart type, they'll totally tolerate a broken GPS as long as the conversations in the car are meaningful. Tailoring your communication to fit the energy center of your listener is absolutely crucial. It's the secret sauce for effective leadership and negotiation.
Which brings us to Section 4, Finding Your True Purpose.
Understanding our unique wiring allows us to transition from simply knowing who we are to discovering why we are here. It prevents us from chasing the wrong goals. Because let's face it, a lack of purpose inevitably leads to building a life full of busyness without actually making any enduring, transformative difference. Consider the story of a farmer. He looked up at the sky one day, saw the letters PC in the clouds, and immediately assumed God was calling him to preach Christ. He took this as a definitive, no-questions-asked sign about his life's destiny, and he completely abandoned his agricultural roots to plant a new church.
Well, after spending a full year absolutely failing to grow this church plant, his efforts yielded nothing but frustration. It forced him to reflect on where things went off the rails. He had to ask himself a really tough question. Did he fundamentally misinterpret his destiny? His wife very insightfully pointed out that, as a farmer, his true purpose was probably to plant corn, not preach Christ. We can laugh at the story, sure, but it brilliantly highlights a serious issue in finding our true purpose. When you don't know your core type, your innate strengths, and your energy centers, you end up like a square peg trying to force yourself into a round hole. You run around trying to mimic the success of other people instead of becoming a master of your own unique, indelible gifts.
And finally, Section 5, Curing Team Infections.
Now let's look at the external application of all this. How does individual self-mastery actually translate into building a healthy, highly functional team? Because once you understand yourself, you still have to navigate the complex personalities around you. The contrast here is fascinating. Just as a literal staph infection with a pH can be deadly to the human body, a toxic staph infection with 2 Fs, fueled by fear and rumors, can completely destroy an organization's mission. Think about it. A physical staph infection finds a tiny break in the skin, enters the bloodstream, and aggressively attacks the vital organs. Similarly, toxic negativity, gossip, fear-mongering, complaining enters an organization through just a few difficult personalities and rapidly depletes the affirmative energy of the entire team. And if you don't treat a staph infection, your healthy team members, they'll become demoralized and eventually just leave.
This is exactly where the Enneagram provides specific tools to deal with cave people. You know, those individuals who chronically complain. Instead of falling back on automatic defensive reactions, where you practically put on an emotional hazmat suit, the Enneagram allows you to step back and depersonalize their attacks. You start to realize, hey, they aren't inherently trying to destroy the mission. They're just operating from a place of unacknowledged fear based on their personality type. By understanding this root cause, you can shift to active listening and start building a real bridge of empathy.
Ultimately, bringing this deep self-awareness into the workplace transforms you into an empathetic, authentic leader who builds significantly healthier relationships, both personally and professionally. But the fundamental question about vulnerability still remains. Who in your life gets to see who you truly are beneath the power? A highly functional team is only built when leaders are willing to remove their masks, admit their blind spots, and genuinely appreciate the diverse lenses through which their team members view the world. That's when you can truly leverage the perfectionism of the Type 1, the wisdom of the Type 5, and the big picture joy of the Type 7 to create something absolutely unstoppable.
So, as you reflect on everything we've covered in this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. Are you courageously living your authentic life? And does it truly align with your highest purpose? The journey of individuation, of dropping your old coping mechanisms and actually confronting your shadow, well, it isn't easy. But it is for sure the absolute only way to shift from just surviving on automatic pilot to truly thriving. I hope this exploration of the Enneagram has sparked your curiosity to look inward and start building a better you, so you can go out there and build a much better team. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and we'll catch you next time.